I was hoping I'd find one of those yellow flowers for you, and we saw one yesterday, but I can't remember exactly where we saw it. I think it was on the other side of this creek.
Jack Korn has spent a lot of years walking this little hollow in the hills outside Nashville.
Now, the technical name is celandine poppy, and we call them yellow wood poppies, which is their common name, and I think they're just beautiful.
He knows just about every plant by sight, and most of them by name.
These are spring larkspurs. Delphinium is the Latin name for them, delphinium, and they have a beautiful little flower.
There is so much to see here, and so much to learn.
A lot of those spring beauties are still blooming back in this woods because it's cooler back in here. There's all kind of stuff grows all back in here. You see that tree with the big roots halfway up the hill? Look up the top and you see a hole, and there are blue anemones growing in it.
Jack was a newspaper photographer when his family bought this land close to 60 years ago. But he's retired now with no more deadlines and no more pressure to get the story. So these days, Jack takes the pictures he wants to take, most of them right out here.
I want to show the beauty of the flower, and I'm not doing it from a biologist standpoint, I'm doing it from an art standpoint. The flower is a great work of art, and so I want to show that's what it is.
One particular flower is both special and rare. The blue-eyed Mary is a beautiful little blue and white blossom that you hardly ever find in Tennessee. But right here, in this little hollow, in the last part of May, they are just about everywhere.
That field is just covered with them. It looks like a carpet almost.
The blue-eyed Mary is not hard to find out west or up around the Great Lakes, but we are at the very edge of their range. There are only 2 established patches of these little flowers in all of Tennessee, and exactly how they showed up in Jack's woods is still a mystery.
No wildflowers were going in here, and they were mowed in here, and the next year we had all these blue-eyed Marys. We didn't plant them, they just came there. We don't know how it happened.
There is probably not a square yard of dirt back here that Jack hasn't walked on, or a single tree that hasn't shown up in one of his pictures.
There's something to be said for being out in the woods with your dog and nobody bothering you. What's going on, huh? Everybody probably needs that, or a lot of people, I think it would help them if they did that more often. Sometimes just to be back here by myself is very refreshing, and if your mind is cluttered, sometimes it kind of can unclutter your mind a little bit.
One of the first things you think about when you see a piece of land this beautiful is how long can it stay this way? How long before someone buys it and builds something right on top of it? Well, the answer to that question on this property is never.
They were going to put a trailer park in here. Some things need to preserve. You don't need to build on every single square inch of earth that there is. There are things worth preserving, and obviously America thinks so because of our public parks.
Jack and his family decided to preserve this land with a conservation easement through the Land Trust for Tennessee. They still own the land, but now it can never be developed, and the blue-eyed Marys will always have a place to grow.
As we grow as a society, we have fewer and fewer places like this because we're building, and there has to be a balance between growth and conservation. And if conservation is not a part of the equation, places like this are just gone.
And hepatica, it's already bloomed.
Andrea Bishop and Brian Bowen know why it's important to preserve our outdoors and our rare flowers.
So usually you have to really look for the flowers because they're down in the leaf litter a lot.
They are biologists with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, which protects the Taylor Hollow State Natural Area in Sumner County, the only other place in the state with an established population of blue-eyed Marys.
To thrive in the wild, it needs no disturbance. I think it's just the most beautiful flower. And the fact that they're 2-colored, I mean, a lot of flowers have the same colored petals, and this one has the distinct white and the distinct, really rich colored blue.
Taylor Hollow is also private land, and again, you need the owner's permission to come here. It belongs to the Nature Conservancy, another nonprofit which also helps preserve natural lands, places which cannot be manufactured, they can only be protected.
It's a very tranquil place to come, and all you're hearing is what is around you in nature. It's a challenge to educate people about the value and to gain their public support so they understand the reasons for why we preserve places for future generations.
Both Taylor Hollow and the Corn family land have the rich soil and cool shadows that the blue-eyed Mary needs to grow and thrive. But there is something else even more important. Both of these lands are protected, set aside from the spread of civilization, living examples of what our natural lands can be if they are just left alone.
I love when the blue-eyed Marys come. It looks just like a carpet, and I just think it's so unusual and so pretty.
Jack is usually by himself when he comes back here, calling all the trees and plants by name like they're his personal friends. And maybe they are.
There's no pressure now. I only have to satisfy myself. So I'll take a flower and try to photograph it, and it may take 2 or 3 years to get the picture I want.
Jack took his camera to the coal mine country of East Tennessee, street parades in New Orleans, even the castles of Europe. But right now, Jack is all about this one patch of woods and those little blue and white flowers just a few hundred yards from his front door. They only blossom for a few days, but the pictures are forever.
Life is what you make it. I love being out in the woods. I love just being outdoors.